What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. In today's video, we will be doing a season preview for Pistons forward Simone Fontecchio. On this channel, we have and will continue to do season previews for every individual player on the Pistons roster. We started with the youngest, we're working our way up to the oldest. We've got 3 left, and today's is Simone Fontecchio. In this video, we'll talk briefly about his previous season, go over 3 strengths to expect from Simone this upcoming year, 1 weakness to expect, a swing skill, and then predict where he will be at in the rotation. So last year, the Pistons traded for Simone Fontecchio at the trade deadline. After he arrived in Detroit, he only got to play 16 games, but I did think that those 16 games went very, very well in the context of the overall season. After he arrived in Detroit last year, Simone averaged 15.5 points per game to go along with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, while shooting 48% from the field and 43% from the three-point line on 6.5 attempts per game. Overall, super happy with the addition of Simone Fontecchio during his short time with us last year. Our team definitely looked the best they looked all year with him on the floor. So the number 1 strength to expect from him is going to obviously be his perimeter shooting. For his career in 3 years in the NBA, he is 38% from 3, but last year specifically, he was 40% and 43% with the Pistons on very good volume, obviously high efficiency. The dude is a very, very consistent shooter. I do not expect to see any major regression in that category whatsoever. I would be absolutely stunned if he shoots anything less than 38% from 3 this year. His mechanics are perfect. He has a pretty fast shot. He's able to get it off with contests. He's a great shooter, point blank, period. Second strength to expect is going to be his wing defense. Now, he's not a super destructive defender where he's going to be getting loads of steals per game or, breaking up plays in a flashy or exciting way, but he is very, very solid when defending the perimeter. He's able to keep his man in front of him. He's fast enough laterally to be able to move with most forwards in the NBA. He's quite strong, so he's not really able to get bodied. He's long. Overall, just a solid defender. I definitely would never expect Simone Fontecchio to be the type of guy to get all defense buzz or be known as a perimeter lockdown defender that's going to take on the top assignment every single night and shut them down. But whoever he's guarding on the wing, he's able to stay in front of them. He's very, very consistent and solid on the defensive end of the ball and can even protect the rim just a little tiny bit, not to the point where he's getting a bunch of blocks or anything like that. But what I mean by that is forwards aren't going to be able to back him down into the paint, get him into the restricted area, and go over top of him. So the third strength that I want to discuss for Simone Fontecchio is going to be his connectivity and just knowing his role. The dude came into the NBA as a 27-year-old, and he is very, very, very just the type of guy who knows his role, doesn't overstep his boundaries. He knows his game and how to play it. He always makes the next pass when it's necessary. He's always the type of guy who, he's not going to dribble the air out of the ball. He knows exactly who he is as a basketball player. He's a very mature basketball player, and that shows on the court. He's able to play a connectivity piece where if he does catch the pass on kind of a pin screen or something like that, he's able to make the next pass down or the pass to the wing, make the right read. Obviously not a point guard level type of playmaker, but the easy passes, he normally makes them, and he makes them effectively. He just knows his role, point blank, period. So one weakness to expect from Simone Fontecchio, and I wouldn't even really consider a weakness, is just the fact that he doesn't have a crazy great amount of shot creation. If someone does give him a hard closeout, he can definitely take them off the bounce, go to the hoop, and finish at the rim at a decent rate. But Simone Fontecchio is not going to be the type of guy who gets the ball at free throw line extended, gives you a jab step, 3 dribbles, spin jumper, something like that you might expect to see from somebody like Cade or Carmelo Anthony, something along those lines. That's just not his game. Offensively, he's more of a spot-up shooter than he is a shot creator, but that is totally fine. Wouldn't even consider it a weakness truly, but that's just an area of his game where you won't expect to see a lot of production. So overall, his swing skill is going to be his defensive side of the ball. Now, I know we also talked about that as a strength, but if he's able to elevate himself defensively and become the type of guy that you feel confident putting on people like Jason Tatum or any other top wing that we might see in the East, Brandon Miller, just you name it, right? You guys get what I'm saying. The top small forward perimeter scorers in the league, that's going to be the swing skill. I know we talked about it as a strength, and the way that we described it was being passable and solid. If he's able to become consistently the type of guy who you feel very confident about taking on the toughest matchup on the other team's wing room, that is where things get very, very good and scary for Simone Fontecchio. That's where you start to feel very, very good about him being the type of player who's playing 32, 33 minutes a night consistently, night in and night out, and being a staple in the rotation. I think he'll be a staple in the rotation regardless, but that's kind of our next topic anyways, is predicting where he will be in the rotation. So as we mentioned, if the swing skill hits and the shooting remains the same, he's already going to be a very good player as is, but just the way he is right now, I think is good enough to be a starter on this team. I did predict earlier this summer that he will be a starter on this team, starting at the small forward spot. I do remain consistent in that thought process. I think that he'll play maybe just a little bit less than he did during his 16 games with us last season, just due to more roster additions. But I do think Simone Fontecchio will be a starter on this team, and I truly do think that he's a starting caliber player in the NBA. He's not the type of guy who's going to take over games very often and give you 40 points and 50-point games, things like that on the regular. But what he can do is definitely get you 15 points on super high efficiency, shooting the ball very well from the perimeter, knowing his role, playing solid enough defense, and everything else in between. It was a really tricky one to kind of go over this stuff because with Simone, he doesn't really have a weakness. He doesn't really have a swing skill that will make it to the point where he ever reaches superstar potential. He's just a very, very high floor, lowish ceiling type of 3-and-D wing, but those types of players are so valuable in today's NBA. I'm really surprised that more teams did not try and scoop him up this summer. I don't know. Maybe they just think that there's not a lot left there as far as potential, but I'm totally okay with that. At 28 years old, I'm very, very okay with who Simone Fontecchio is as a basketball player, being a dependable 3-and-D wing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the team with him this year because in the short amount of time that he did play with the Pistons last year, we were playing the best basketball that we had played all season. I know that's not a very high bar, but it did look a lot better with him on the floor than any other point throughout all of last year. Let me know what you guys think about Simone. I'm super excited to have him back. Definitely one of the bright spots last year. I'll talk to y'all soon.